Hey guys, welcome back to part 3 of our C1 model slash Italy Ford Escort RS2000. So, picking up where we left off last time with our freshly painted and flocked interior, we're going to start assembling some of this together. So, the standard car has no real interior. It has some really poor kind of racing seats. The C1 model's trans kit thankfully gives us our interior. And it's still a bit sparse because it is a mid to late 1970s car, so not the most luxurious, but still we'll make the best of it that we can. So we painted all our dark brown in chocolate brown leather from ProScale, and we've used our texture paints on the front and rear seats. The carpet's been done with ProScale chocolate brown flock as well, and we're just detail painting some of the dashboard with some Vallejo model colour. Sadly, no decal supplied in the trans kit, so I've cut out the speedo and rev counter from the artillery kit and cut out another random decal to put. I think it's where the clock is on the car. I didn't have any smaller ones. I've got some aviation decals somewhere, but I couldn't for the life of me find them. So I just settled on leaving the other ones blank. We've got our window winders, which have been painted black as well. Just super gluing those in place. And then the door cards, we're just going to run a bead of Bob Smith's gold up the side. We already test fitted these way back in part 1. So I know these fit very, very well. The front section just hooks on the inside, and then the bottom section hooks on the outside. So it holds itself in pretty well. It does fit absolutely perfect, this. I have already test fitted it all. Steering column, a little dab of glue in there. And then we can get our steering wheel in place. Choice of 3 steering wheels in the kit. I've gone for the typical RS logoed steering wheel. It's a nice fit as well. That fits in there really, really well. And then we've got our center console with our gear shifter on as well. So that's it. A little bit out of shot. Now, I didn't realize my camera zoomed in. So apologies on this section. Some of it is a little bit out of shot. Apologies. I'd zoomed into a bit of detail work and totally forgot it was. And it doesn't get as wide a frame as it normally does. So apologies all around here. Hopefully my description and showing you what I've done is enough. But our center console's in, the gear shifter, the handbrake. We've got our seatbelt buckles glued in place as well. We've got the seats in. Don't forget the seats are handed, and the armrests are on the doors as well. Like I say, Chris done a really good job of this interior. It is actually really, really nice. And then a little bit of a wobbly camera. We're going to flat back the bodywork on the car. So we've got our Trizic 6000 and 8000 sanding sponges, and we're going to go around and just lightly take back all the 2K. Now, as always, just do 2 things. Number 1, to get rid of any surface imperfections that may be in there, any dust or debris that may have landed in the 2K. And secondly, it will thin the 2K a touch and make it look a bit more realistic. So it's going to go around the 6 and the 8000. It doesn't require anything else. The finish was really good out the airbrush. You could leave it like this if you wanted, to be honest, but it always looks better after a bit of a sand back and polish. So going around the whole car with the 6 and the 8, we've got a bit of washing up liquid, dish soap, Dawn dish soap, whatever you call it, soap, dish detergent, wherever it's called where you're from, in the water to aid with lubrication. And we keep making sure that that's nice and wet as we go around the entire body. Of course, be careful in raised areas or corners. It's very easy to burn through. So just take your time here and work your way around. So we'll go around all the way around with the 6000 and then repeat the exact same with the 8. And then we'll dry it off in between. Make sure I haven't missed anywhere. And you'll see this will dull the finish right back now. I do have 3000 as well, but sometimes the 3000 is unneeded. It doesn't always need to go back that flat. Here's the 8000 now as well. Like I say, just a light sand all over. Just be careful of the edges. It's very easy to burn through. A lot easier than you think. So yeah, once this is done, we'll then polish it up with our Menzerna compounds and our Zoom On compound sponges that we sell over at ProScale. I think it's an important step to do. I didn't always do this step myself back in the day, but it's definitely something I do religiously now. I think it makes a huge difference in how the 2K looks. It takes a little bit of that thickness away, takes a little bit of the toy look away, and it definitely pays off doing so. Just take your time. These 3M pads are absolutely phenomenal. They are really efficient. The way they're designed, because they're designed to go on a orbital sander, they don't leave any scratches no matter which way you sand, and they are very, very efficient. They cut through paint very efficiently. So we've got the Menzerna 2500, we've got the 3500, and some Autoglym Super Resin Polish. So this is what we're going to polish all the body back up with. So we're going to use the coarse Zoom On compound sponge, which is the green one, with the coarser of the two Menzerna compounds. And I'm going to rub it on the body with my finger because it says it's spraying everywhere. So just rub a generous enough amount on. We don't want it to go dry on the body. We also don't want tons on there flicking everywhere all over us and our workspace. And it's a case of just putting enough on, and then we'll hit it with the polishing sponge and work our way around the entire car. And the process is going to be exactly the same for each compound and sponge. So we'll use the coarser compound with the coarser sponge, the green one. We'll use the medium cut compound with the blue one, which is a medium cut sponge. And then the Autoglym resin polish we'll use with the fine, which is the red one. We've got my Proxxon multi-tool here. Like I say, we do sell these over on ProScale. They at time of making this video, they are just out of stock, but there's a whole load of them on the way to me as I'm making this. So hopefully by the time this video is out, they should be back in stock, and you can go over and have a look. And trust me, these are a game changer. I avoided using these for many years, and I kick myself. This turns a boring 3-hour job into less than an hour's amount of work, and is so much more efficient and does a much better job. And you do need to be careful of all the edges. Don't be catching the edges with the black part, or it's actually the yellow part of the tool, because that is sharp, hard plastic. I put some electrical tape around mine to take some of the sharpness off. You don't want to be spending ages on the corners or edges, because you'll end up burning through your paint. This is a super, super efficient way of polishing up the bodies. Now, I have used cheaper versions of these sponges. They don't last anywhere near as long as the Zoom On. They're literally, the Velcro stops working and they won't stick anymore. The Zoom On seems to be much higher quality. They're not expensive at all, and you will get 6 to a dozen vehicles out of one set of these sponges with ease. I don't bother washing them. I just put them back in the bag when I'm done and pick them back up when we go. This has done half a dozen vehicles already. They're very good. And like I say, this is a game changer. With these and the Menzerna compounds, it makes life just an absolute breeze to polish the bodies up. So it's just a case of go around. I thought I'd show one section of it, going all the way around. So we do the top sections first, which is usually the bonnet, the boot, and the roof. Obviously, the bonnet's separate on this. And I'll do one side, then the other, and then the front valance and rear valance separately. And if the bonnet's separate, I'll do that at the end as well. But just take your time working your way around, and you'll end up with a beautiful high shine. Even just off this coarser compound and sponge, the shine we'll get back is really noticeable straight away. We'll polish it up with a nice piece of microfiber, ultra-fine microfiber cloth. You can see the shine we've got back, and that's the coarse compounds. This is just going to get better and better with each compound. And yeah, absolutely beautiful. Works really well. Like I say, we'll repeat that with the the fine compound, and then the Autoglym, and it will leave us with a beautiful shine on our body. So polish it up really easy. You may find you get some resin collecting the panel line, so an old toothbrush is helpful. And I jet wash out the panel lines at the end with water and my airbrush just to clean them out. So now we've got the medium blue sponge in the Proxxon, and this is the finer finish cut of Menzerna. So again, we load this up. Ironically, this feels more gritty than the coarser one. Don't know what's going on there, but it does. And we just get this all over the body as well. So basically, I shake the bottles, take the lids off, and just use whatever's in the lid. It's just so much easier than trying to use a squirty bottle, because you always get more out than you need. And then with the softer blue sponge, so as you go down the compound stiffness of the sponge gets softer and softer. So just be aware when you're using it. Don't compress it too much. Let the sponge do the work. It doesn't need tons of pressure. It should just be compressed enough that's putting a little bit of pressure on the body. You don't want to be pressing down really hard on it. The red one is even softer still. So just take your time. But obviously, we are coming down in coarseness of compound as well and polish. So again, it doesn't need as much pressure as the session before. And just work our way around. And again, we wipe this off, and the shine will just get better and better with each stage. It's a step well worth doing. If it's something you've never tried before, trust me, give it a whirl. See what you think. You just need to be careful and take your time. So as you can see, we get a beautiful shine coming back out of there. Looks absolutely phenomenal. And then the final one, the red sponge with the autoglim. Now, this is a very fine, just a house, you know, we've all used this on our full-size cars. It's a very friendly polish to use, smells amazing. You can pick it up anywhere. I get the Menzana and the autoglim from Amazon. Admittedly, it probably cost me about £40 if not more, to buy all three. But it's literally a lifetime supply. You'll do hundreds of cars with that. If you know somebody, you could share it with them. You could split the cost. It's a worthy investment. I think my body shells speak for themselves. And again, when we polish this up, again, it's not absolutely flawless. None of my models are. But it's certainly a hell of a lot better than previous work I've done from years ago, which shows the vast difference of using pro scale paints and polishing the bodies up properly. I think it makes a huge difference. And I really wish I'd started using this technique years ago. There we go. Again, this microfiber cloth, really good. So we've got a little tiny bit of orange peel still on that boot lid. I could push it more and try and get rid of it, but I'm happy with the finish. You can only see it really when the light just catches it. The bonnet's turned out well. Shine looks good on the car. Colour looks amazing. And yeah, very happy how this has turned out. It's looking really, really good. Nice high shine. Nice, beautiful signal orange. Looking good. Now, the tedious task of masking all of our windows, and we've got to do around the front grille and the rear trim around the lights and what have you. So using our Azu tape and some Tamiya masking tape, we're going to go around, spend a couple of hours masking all this off. It is tricky to do, but fairly simple. All the window seals and what have you are very well demarked. Is that a word? Demarked? The demarcation's very good. And all I'd say here is just number one, be thorough with your masking. Make sure you get every inch covered and you don't leave anything exposed. And de-tack your tape as well. Don't be putting full strength tape down on your nice bodywork. Because I've seen it before. It's never happened to me, thankfully. I've literally seen people pull 2K off a car body before. So Mr. Sosa 1500 black all around the window trims, all around the front grille and bumper. The front bumper is built in. The rear one is separate. We painted that earlier on. So probably 3 light coats on here of Mr. Sosa 1500 black. The windows were really easy to mask. The front grille not too bad. That rear section quite difficult to do. So just take your time. Really take your time here. Of course, you could also mask up and spray those vents as well. But we're going to do ours a different way. A little bit of a cheating way later on. We're just going to brush paint ours. Make life easier. And with all the mask, what took hours to mask takes seconds, well, minutes to spray and seconds to unmask. But look at that. That adds depth to the model now. Look at that. Absolutely fantastic. Beautiful. Looking really, really good. Nice and clean. No overspray. Happy with that. Very, very happy with that. So we'll throw all our masking tape away. And then we're going to get some Vallejo model colour black and just paint all the inside of our roof, the ABC pillars, and just on the sides as well. Because if you look down sometimes, you can sometimes see down the side of the door cards. But yeah, nice flat brush, water-based Vallejo. If you get it on the outside, it'll literally just wipe off, no problem at all. So, not handy paint to have. Not many of my paints are water-based. Looking at my rack, I've got about 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I've got 14, and 4 of those are armour-specific. I've got 1 black one, and the rest of them metallic colours that I use occasionally detailing models. I'm definitely more of a lacquer person now. Now, while we've got this model colour out, may not be the best way. Everyone's going to be like, oh my god, what's he doing? But there's a plan. So this Vallejo model colour wipes off 2K really easy. So I am literally brush painting inside these vents on the side and on the back. With this, we'll let it dry, and using a moist cotton bud, the paint will literally just wipe off before your eyes. Really easy. Front headlight surrounds, they're being pushed in. No glue needed on those, they just held themselves in there beautifully. Very nice. And then the headlights themselves, they have a shaped kind of key that they need to go in. So line it up as so. And again, once pushed in, needed no glue at all. Literally held themselves in place. Just double checking, like, do they need glue? No, they're in perfect. Fantastic. So nice little touch there. Very useful. So 4 of these to get in place, and then we've got our clear headlight lenses as well, which we dipped in X22 earlier. So there we go, that's those in. There's the other 2 on the other side. Like so, job done, looking good. Very, very nice. And then our rear lights, which we dipped earlier, well, a few days ago now, we've brush painted the amber in Tamiya X, is it 26 clear orange, I think it is. That's now dried, and we're painting the X27 clear red. Just using a micro brush. I like using micro brushes for these clear paints because you can load the brush up. You don't need to be ultimately accurate with it. Just get enough to get in there to get what we want. Pool it in there so it dries. That leaves a good effect. And then for the headlight lenses, we've got some Bob Smith's Gold. Just putting a few sparing bits of super glue where we want the lenses to go. And then we'll pick up the lens with our tweezers and just pop it in place. What a difference the X22 made to that resin. It's crystal clear once dipped. And there we go, push that home, and we'll repeat that for all the others. A nice simple step, and the front end of this car is starting to look absolutely fantastic now. Again, a little bit of Bob Smith's. You don't need a lot of this at all. Don't forget, parts like this, they've got no pressure on them. They're not going to be handled again. You could literally put them in place and let some varnish, capillary action around it to hold them in, which is a trick I've used many times in the past. But the Bob Smith's Gold is an absolute lifesaver with parts like this because it doesn't haze them or leave any white marks. And then on the rear light units, we're going to use a mascara brush. Yes, a mascara brush, that's right, for my makeup. And some Vallejo Model Air Silver. I'm just going to paint all in the light lenses. So these brushes, yeah, a little bit of laziness and convenience. Is it always worth grabbing an expensive brush and painting it and having to clean it and what have you, when you can just buy these disposable brushes, which are fairly cheap, use them on all the silver parts. You can clean them up if you want and use them again. Is this a bit wasteful? A little bit, yeah, but it's a convenience thing. It's sometimes handy just to be able to grab a brush that you can abuse or you don't need to worry about. But they are a helpful little tool, they are. And the tip on them is just right for doing things like this. And then on the front, we've got our front indicators as well. Like so, just mark those in. And again, we'll put water-based paints on lacquer paint, so if you get any excess on, with a moistened cotton bud, it will literally wipe back off, no problem at all. There we go. Our fuel filler cap. Now, we discussed this in the last part. Some of these are color coded, some are silver. I've gone with silver, so that's what I'm doing on this. So literally just push fit in place. A little bit of persuasion from the tweezers just to get it to push in. And there we go. Happy with that. And a fingernail. There we go. Be careful. So that's in place as well. Still going to clean up all our vents, and here we go. So if I'm moistening cotton bud and using the edge of the vent as a rest, we can get a perfect demarcation. And trust me, how easy this paint wipes off the 2K surface. Yeah, it's very easy to do, and that's why I chose to do it this way. We'd have been there all day masking that, trying to get it perfect in there, whereas a couple of seconds of brush painting and a couple of minutes of wiping it with a cotton bud does just the same perfect job. It's not a highly exposed part, it's just the inside of a vent. And look at that. You can't even tell it's there. Look, and then that little bottom piece will wipe off. There we go, perfect. The beauty of 2K, it's almost impervious to everything. Absolutely brilliant stuff. So, nice, easy job. Then we've got our front indicators. These are a little bit tricky. In hindsight, these could probably do with a little bit of sand to get them to fit. Admittedly, I didn't test fit those parts. I test fitted all the other clear parts, but I didn't do those. And yeah, I think admittedly they need a little bit of a sand just to get them to fit perfectly. Rear light lenses, all the Tamiya clear is dried nicely now. So we're going around the whole outside of the light unit with a black Sharpie pen to give the indication of the rubber seal. And again, this adds depth to a model. Things like this, the panel line wash, the lights, things like this. It just adds depth and just takes the toy look away from a lot of models. It really does. And again, just some spare and application of Bob Smith's gold. Get the light the right way. These are orientated one way, so make sure you get the correct way, or if you're me, you can just keep knocking it around the bench. There we go. Decal tweezers, ideal for parts like this, where you don't need the micro point of the sizo tweezers I normally use, but you've got something where you've got a little bit of control of what you've got. Now these sit a little bit proud. They don't sit in, even on the real car, they look to sit proud. So don't be trying to force them in. Just leave them sat proud, just a touch. And as you can see, as soon as you start getting things like this on, it starts to really bring like the front and back end of the car together. Looking good. This is for the bumper. I had to just widen holes. You remember in part 1 we test fitted the bumper and it fitted perfect. But obviously we're primed, we're painted, we're cleared. It takes up the tolerance on the hole a little bit. So I just ran through a drill bit that was just a little bit bigger than the hole. And then the bumper fitted in place perfect. And again, making sure you've got your number plate right, orientated the correct way, which should be up. We can pop the bumper in with some Bob Smith's gold again. And that was our bumper in place as well. And then door handle is exactly the same. We'll just give it a widen with a drill bit. It's not a massive drill bit at all. It's just a little bit wider than the hole. And again, a sparing amount of Bob Smith's gold. We don't need a lot. Like I say, these aren't high stress areas. It's not something going to be rolling around the carpet, trying to open the doors and what have you. So it just needs to hold the part in place. You can get away with white glue. Like I say, you can even use varnish if you want. Now, the Escort badge for the back. Thankfully, Chris gives us several. I only used one, which is a miracle for me. Now, I did find the holes pre-drilled into the body. One was a little bit off for me. So what I did, when I lined the badge up, it was on an angle when I used both holes. So what I opted to do was cut one of the locating pins off, as you see me doing here. And have a little teeny dab of CA glue in one of the holes, like so, and just a little dab where we think it's going to go. Make sure you got the Escort badge the right way around. You can pop it in place, make sure it's all straight where we want it. There we go. Push it down. Perfect. And then the glass. So the glass isn't bad in the artillery kit, thankfully. It's not too bad at all. It fits okay. It's pretty transparent. It's not too bad at all. I've seen a lot worse in other kits. And judging by the rest of the quality of the kit, we've got quite lucky here. So it fits in well. So it just needs pushing in place. A few blobs of Bob Smith's gold on the front and the back. Hit it with some kicker to hold it. And that's it. Job done. Really easy to put in place. Obviously, if you do get your fingerprints on it like I'm going to do here, make sure you wipe them. Number one, when the CA glue is fully dry, which is why I always kicker like this. That is Bob Smith's kicker. That will instantly cure the super glue. And yeah, make sure it's dry so you're not smearing super glue all over the glass. And make sure you do it before you put the car body on, because you want to get those fingerprints off. Excuse me. Before you put the body on. And the kicker, just touch it to it. That's enough to dry it normally. And there we go. There's our instantly dried CA glue. I've just pulled a little bit of paint off there. The micro brush with the kicker on stuck to the paint and pulled it off. So yeah, shows you how efficient that kicker is. And then body in place. We've got our radiator in place as well. It just slides in the top, nice and simple at the front. Everything fits in nicely here. Engine bay is looking good. I didn't gloss the engine bay. I left it as is. Personal choice. And we've got our mud flaps. Now, once these mud flaps are in, it's very hard to get the body off. In fact, I don't think you can get the body off with the mud flaps in place. So make sure you've got everything right on the interior now. These just need a little bit of CA glue on the edge. Chris has very kindly put some locating points on there. So they're pretty straightforward to glue in place. Like so. There we are. So there's one. And these are a really nice touch. Not something you'll notice straight away, but just a nice touch to the overall build of the kit. I think it does look really, really good. So just take your time, get them glued in place. The front one's a little bit tricky because they're smaller, and I found taking the wheel off helped with each one of these so you can get your fingers in there, especially when you've got big mitts like mine. And then the rear spoiler, this is where you need to be confident in what you're doing. Some Bob Smith's Gold. If you're not confident with CA glue, use a PVA-based glue. You could even use double-sided tape if you want. I was confident. I'd already test-fitted it. So it's a case of getting it in place, make sure it's centered. You get a little bit of working time with the Bob Smiths, thankfully. And that's it. That's in place. And then the mirrors, we're going to colour in the mirror glass with an Edding paint marker pen. So this is a silver paint marker pen. So these work absolutely beautiful. Got a little bit of excess around the outer edge of the mirror. So with a cotton bud, we can just wipe off the excess. And then on the boot lid, I'm going to add one of my dressmaking pins as a button push for the boot. Now, I should have done this before paint. I'll be honest, I completely forgot. But with a nice sharp bit, we can just mark the 2K and then very gently drill through. Like so. It will need widening a touch as well. And then we'll cut the head off a dressmaking pin. Like so. Like I say, we just need to widen the hole a touch. The shanked drill bits are perfect for this with no pin vise. And then we'll pop in the head. And because it's a nice tight fit, it doesn't need any glue. So we'll pop it in and use the back of the tweezer just to push it home. And there we go, there's our push button on the front, sorry, the back. And then our 4 badge on the front, we're just widening the holes for it. I've painted these in black. I was going to paint it silver, and I'm glad I didn't because I think it would have been too prominent showing through. If I was going to paint the 4 badge, because you get the decals with the kit, I would have. But thankfully, I've got these aftermarket kind of 3D metal effect stick-on 4 badges. Now sadly the stickiness isn't very good, so I put a little bit of Bob Smith's on there just to get it in place, and it's a nice finishing touch for the front end of the car. There we go. We can go make sure everything's angled right and straight. Happy with that, that's looking good. And a number plate. So this is a temporary thing. I've used these plates before. I've got them on eBay. They're not the best. They're self-adhesive vinyl on a vinyl number plate. It's a bit too long, the number plate for the car. So I'm going to source a separate one. And I was racking my brains thinking, what kind of 1970s number plate can I do? And I remember back to my first car. And I can remember the number plate. I'll remember for the rest of my life. It was my first car. My dad bought it me. And he paid a princely sum of £150 back in 1995 for a V plate, which I think is 1979 Austin Allegro. It was brown. It was horrible, but I had that for 8 months at school. I was in 6th form at the time, and it beat getting the bus. That's all I'm going to say. So that is the reg plate off my old Austin Allegro. And if you use the government UK MOT tracker, you can Google that and it will show as a brown 1975 Austin Allegro, which is what my car was. So quite apt to put my number plate on there. So yeah, there you go. And this is where they're from, the becc.co.uk. They're not the best, but they'll do in a pinch. I will source something out better for this car. And then the final touch is the ultimate shine spray. So I'm going to spray this on. This is basically a spray wax. So a nice high quality glasses cleaning cloth. And it's not abrasive at all. You just want this to buff on, haze off and buff it off. Job done. Really simple. And this will give us a nice high shine finish on the car. So my bonnet is loose. Now underneath the bonnet, you can't see it, I've added 2 small strips of white styrene. And that is supporting the bonnet at the correct height. If I was going to do it properly, and yes, I've not done it properly, I'd probably put a support in the engine bay. But I'll never look under the bonnet. Nobody else will ever see this car. So I'm more than happy doing it that way. You can do it whichever way you please. This is the way I chose to do mine. I was far too excited at the end of this build to be faffing around with small details that I just wanted this done. And there she is. Doesn't she look beautiful? Absolutely love the Mark II Escort. I absolutely adore the RS2000. and I love the X-Packs. Always love these cars. The X-Pack always looked the most aggressive of them all. And I'm just so happy to finally have a scale model I built of one of my favourite all-time cars. So stay tuned, you're going to see more of these. This kit is phenomenal from Chris. We're going to talk about more of that in a minute at the end. But here's some finished pictures of the build, and I think she looks absolutely beautiful. So this is a C1 Models trans kit with the Artillery Mark II Escort. We primed this in ProScale White Primer. It was given several coats of ProScale Ford Signal Orange. The kit decals went on, no bother at all. Black Tamiya panel line wash. We've 2K'd it with the ProScale 2K system. The interior is a mixture of chocolate brown leather, texture foam brown leather, and our chocolate flocking for the carpet. All the exterior black trim is Tamiya LP5. The wheels are ProScale gunmetal. All the exhaust and engine is ProScale metallics as well. And what a great build. Absolutely brilliant. It was all flatted back with the 3M Tri-Zip pads, polished up with the Zoom On compound sponges and Manzana compounds and Autocom Super Resin polish. And I think this has turned out really well. I've got another one of these to build. I've got the Bodie car. Whether I'm going to do Bodie, is it Doyle's car? Sorry, I've got Doyle's car to do. Whether I'm going to do that car, I don't know. I know Chris has plans to do different versions of the Escort, like the Forest Arches, which would be cool, and the flat nose for the Harrier and the Mexico and what have you. So you will see more of these builds off me in the future, but just so happy to finally have this kit and get all my favourite cars in my build log. So there we go. Let's go back to me. Right then, there we go. We are all done. That was good fun. I really enjoyed that. Just a fun build throughout. Very well thought out trans kit from Chris. The Artillery kit is crap. It really is a crap kit. It's horrible. I've avoided it for the, what is it now? 14 years I've been back to modelling properly. And more so for the last 6 or 7 years I've been building cars mostly, because I knew how bad of a kit it was. And I've been dying for something to do with Mark II Escort. And I can't understand why none of the major manufacturers have picked it up. It's probably one of the most common rally cars used, certainly in Europe. And especially for people in the UK, a lot of fond memories of the cars. My mum had one when I was a child. And yeah, I'm very surprised nobody makes one at all. But there we go. Chris has answered the prayer of many modelers now by making this kit. And what a kit it was. No real problems with it whatsoever. There's a few things I'd like to see added. Definitely. I'd like to see Ford badges in the kit, but I think you're probably verging on some issues with the Ford logo then. I'd like to see some instrument decals in there for the dashboard. I think that would be really good as well. But overall, great. Absolutely brilliant. Good fun. And I look forward to doing my next one. I will certainly be buying more off Chris. I know there's another pre-order currently underway, and Chris has got plans to bring out many different versions going forward in the future. So if you've got this kit, if you've built it, you might have already built it before me, or you're thinking of getting it, let me know in the comments down below. I mean, look, you can see on the wall behind me, look, green RS2000. I think is that Java? Yeah, that's Java green by the look of it. Corgi RS2000s, huge Ford fan. They're everywhere in here. So yes, this is a kit I've been angling for a while. It's there. I'm just really happy to finally have it in my collection. So yes, let me know your thoughts on the build. Let me know if you thought going to get one as well. Interested to see what everybody else thinks as well. And I look forward to seeing what else Chris brings out. So nice one, Chris. Cheers, mate. Much appreciated. And there we go. There's another build series off the bench. So if you're a patron, you're going to get literally about a day's early access on this, and it's getting released straight publicly. So you are going to see this video very quick. It's literally bumps this way up past builds that are already edited. There's the video there. I've just edited it all today. The Porsche 911 video is already edited and it's uploaded to Patreon, but this is bumped ahead. I want to get this out early. It's a very pertinent kit at the minute because it's just been released, and I think a lot of people might like to see how it builds up. And obviously, I hope it helps Chris as well with some sales and answering a few questions with the build or what's in the kit as well. And of course, don't forget, I've got most of the RS2000 colours over on ProScale. All the interesting colours anyway are on there. I think the next one you'll see from me will be a signal green one, like that one there. So stay tuned, and you might see that in the near future. There we go. Thanks for watching today. As always, you want to access all these videos, there's a Patreon. All the perks are up here. There's 10% off with Pro Scale paints with tier 4 and higher. You get 2 to 3 months access on all the videos, bar this one. There's a Patreon exclusive Sunday bench update. You get a Patreon exclusive Facebook group, messenger chat. There's exclusive videos on there. You can chat to me directly, and you keep me being able to do these videos. Without the support of these patrons, I couldn't do this day in, day out. So I thank you all from the bottom of my heart for everyone who does become a patron. And if anyone's thinking about it, you can be a patron for a month. If you don't like it, you can cancel. It's as simple as that. So there we go. As always, there's links to everything else in the description of the video down below. I'll put links to C1 models in there as well. And there's links to everything else. All my social medias there. Links, there's an email address. Get in touch with me. Pro Scale Paint is down there. The off-air hangout, you can come chat with us in an off-air hangout, you can. And yeah, a thorough enjoyable build. One of my favourite builds of the year this so far, definitely. And I look forward to my next. So enjoy your day, everyone. Make sure you sub to the channel. Give the video a thumbs up. Hit that bell notification to get notified of all your latest videos. And please leave a comment. I love reading all your comments. I might not reply, but I do read every single one. And ignore the lights. These are new arms to bring the lights in more. So I just chuck them up out the way. And yeah, it looks a bit precarious up there, doesn't it? But there we go. Thanks for watching today. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.